Good morning, traders. Welcome to this week's Elliott Wave Forex and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. I hope you all had a great week. So we're going to look at how we forecasted the market in the last week, how the market performed, and what we are looking for going into the new week. Let's get started, guys. If you'd like to contact us, you can go under the description of all our videos in our channel. The channel is Trading Waves on YouTube, and under the description of all our videos you will find our contact details as well as the links to our social media pages, that is our Twitter as well as our Facebook profiles. Okay, so on there you will find a lot of posts on the charts before and after, and also you will find the chart of the week on our website, that is trading-waves.com. Just make a note, guys, that our website has changed. It is now trading-waves.com. That is a link to our website, and I'll be referring to some of the analysis on the website so you can see how we've been looking at the market. Right, so let's get right into it. We're going to start with how the market performed in the last week and what we're expecting going forward. So let's have a look at this one. So Audi New Zealand. I want to start with Audi New Zealand. I'm going to open that link for Audi New Zealand. And remember, this was posted in October last year. So about 3 months back, we posted this analysis on Audi New Zealand. So what we were essentially looking for here was for this to give us a 3-wave pullback as well as a move to the upside in this second purple wave. So what we had was a move to the upside with 5 waves. We're expecting this to give us a 3-wave pullback and a move to the upside. So as the market was playing out, this is what we were, this is where we were around December. Let's just have a look here. Yeah, so this was around December. Now, just make note of how the market has played out here. Remember, the analysis was for this to give us a 3-wave structure in purple. This is the purple degree, wave 2. If you remember in the previous slide, let me just go back to that so you can have an idea. So this is the 3 waves we're looking for. We're looking for these 3 waves to give us the wave 2. And this is now the 3 waves. Now, what's interesting here is that the 3 waves has played out, and it did not just play down with the 3 lines, with a schematic 3-wave simple zigzag like that. What has happened is that the B wave here has become a running flat. It is still a 3-wave structure. So that's why even after this has played out like that, we were still anticipating that the structure will play out after the 3 waves, and we're still going to get a move to the upside. So that's why you saw that in December, as much as this looked like it was going down, we still focused that we're going to have our move to the upside, because our structure was for a move to the upside in this wave 1. We wanted the wave 2 and a continuation to the upside. Just because this is coming down did not change our view, because structurally, as well as the sequence and the cycle, was confirming that we're going to continue seeing upside. So let's have a look at the final chart on how this has played out on Audi New Zealand. Let's have a look here. And finally, you see that the full move has played out as anticipated. Now, the 3 waves that we wanted to see has played out. Even here in December, as much as it looked like it was going down, we knew that the structure was a move to the upside, a pullback, and a continuation to the upside, and the full structure has played out. So that's what we were expecting. So that was the chart before, the 3 waves and continuation to the upside, and the final chart, the 3 waves and a continuation to the upside. As we start with the market analysis, we will show what we anticipate the market to, how we anticipate the market to play out in the coming week. Right, so I just wanted to go into a bit more detail on that one so you can see how structure and the sequence as well as the cycle helps you to focus accurately. Now, this is a pound chief. Now, if you look at the pound chief structure, this is what we like to call a textbook setup, because what you see here is a clear 3-wave structure in the purple degree. So let me just use a red degree because we're using the red there. So WXY in the red degree, that is a simple 3-wave structure with lower degrees here. You see another WXY in the lower degree, and then we've got another WXY in the lower degree there for the X, and we've got this one here, WXY in the green degree. And after that, we're anticipating that we're going to have a move to the upside. That is pound chief, and we've been tracking this move to the downside for some time, and now this is how it has played out. So we're anticipating that we're going to get that move to the upside. Did that play out? Let's have a look at the chart after on pound chief, see how that has played out. So you'll see that after this is the chart. So we've already made a move to the upside, and yes, you'll see with the forecast, we're still anticipating that pound CHF will continue to push to the upside. More on that when we go down into the details of the next week's analysis. Right, so let's look at the rest here. So that was pound CHF, AUDCAD. So AUDCAD, a clear example of how structure will help you focus accurately if you understand the structure and the cycle. So here the cycle was a WXYXZ. So it is 11 swings. You can see it. You will see that we've got, let's just show it here, WXYX. We were just anticipating that we're going to get the Z to complete and a move to the upside. So what we wanted essentially here was for this to continue pushing lower and reverse around this level. How did the market play out? Let's have a look here on the chart after on AUDCAD. So it was a very interesting move here. If you look at how this has played out, we get the move to the downside. I need to open it on the link. So we get the move to the downside and a move to the upside. So let's have a look here. So the move to the upside completes that Z that we were talking about. Now you've got the WXYX, and then the Z that I was talking about now completes. Now we've got a move to the upside. And as you can see here, we are still anticipating that we are going to get a continuation move to the upside, because that is what the structure is telling us. So we're still going to expect a continuation move to the upside on AUDCAD. Let's move through the rest pretty quickly now. So Euro US dollar, let's have a look here. You also need to refer to last week's analysis during the webinar, what we looked at here. So last week we said we're looking at this to be a triangle. Okay, it was potential triangle with a flat top and an ascending bottom. And we were looking at this to be making a 5-wave structure like this. Just ignore the labeling for now, and I'm going to explain why we've got that now. That's the latest update. So we're looking for this one to be an A, B, C, D. So last week we anticipated that euro was going to push to the upside to end the wave E and continue to the downside. I also cautioned that if you see the euro pushing up above the upper boundary, do not disqualify the triangle, because that usually happens. You can find this pushing to the upside. We call that an over, a throw over on a triangle. So that has happened, and we are now looking for this to push to the upside. Now, if you look at how the euro has played out, we already started, it looks like we're already starting that move to the downside. Let's have a look at the chart after. You'll see a bit more detail when we start with the analysis on the euro US dollar. Look at that. So that was the flat top that we were anticipating to be the flat top of the triangle. We wanted to see this one push to around this level or even higher for an overshoot so that we can get a move to the downside. But we are now looking at the structure a little bit differently. It does not make sense for this to be a triangle anymore. So what we're looking for here is that this is a flat correction. We've got a move to the upside. Let's show that in a different color. We've got a move to the upside here in 3. We've got this move down here in 3. And we've got this move up here in 3. Now we're anticipating that we're going to get a continuation move to the downside. Okay, so whatever we're getting here, looks like the euro is done with this correction. Did not play out as a triangle, but rather as a 3-wave structure. Now, if I have to track this 3-wave structure here that I'm referring to, you'll see that we've got a move down here in 1, 2, 3. That is the 3 waves that we're looking at there. So this whole X in white, the W, X in white is this red degree here, and we're looking for this one to make a move to the upside here and downside. So that's how we forecasted the euro. Let's go through the rest here. So euro US dollar CHF, we also forecasted downside last week. If you watched our video last week, we were around here on euro US dollar. We wanted to see, rather EURJPY, we wanted to see this one just drop, but instead we had a bit of a push to the upside here, still making the 3 waves, did not change anything, and looking for this to continue to the downside like that. That's why you see that US dollar CHF as forecasted there. During the week, we had that move falling from right there. So we had a simple 1-2 running flat there, a move to the upside. We still understood the structure. We're still confident of the structure. That's why US dollar CHF has dropped from there. As to what we anticipate going into the next week, you'll see that as we do the analysis. That is what we have on US dollar CHF. Let's look at US dollar CAD. Now, US dollar CAD, the chart before was, we were expecting that US dollar CHF was going to drop here, come down to the blue box and make a reaction there. So we were here. We are now down onto the blue box. Let's just have a look at the chart and the latest chart on US dollar CAD and how that has dropped onto the blue box. We have now dropped into the blue box. Now we want to see if we're going to continue to push to the upside. Looks like the US dollar strength is starting to resume, and then we're going to see this US dollar CAD start pushing to the upside because of the US dollar. That was US dollar CAD. Now we looked at US dollar CAD, and then we've got New Zealand. Let's have a look at New Zealand. So these are short-term charts, 1 hour charts that we're looking at during the week. So New Zealand US dollar, we're looking for this one to drop from here and give us this move. So it was just a pullback here. So we wanted to just get that move to the downside. How did that play out? It plays out as follows. So as you can see, that was the chart before. This has now dropped. This was the forecast. We were looking for this move, just simply this move. So we've got that move. We could get even down to around this level. Let's see how the analysis is going to be updated in this week. So that is New Zealand. It will be exactly the same as Audi, really. Audi and New Zealand are the same. So you can see here on Audi US or Audi Yen, we're focusing this to get a move to the downside. Inch perfect, it plays out. So we get these moves way before they play out. So you see that was Audi after. This has now dropped. So if I can just remind you again, this is Audi before, this is Audi after. Before and after. Inch perfect, painless trade on Audi Yen. All right, so that is Audi Yen. Let's have a look here at Audi, Pound Audi. Now, last week on Pound Audi, we're gonna see this when we do the more detail. On Pound Audi, I'm not gonna go through this one because it's really a very small move. This is still in development. So what we anticipated last week, which we're gonna go through in the next couple of minutes when we start with the analysis, was that we're gonna see continuation to the upside on Pound Audi. Okay, so Pound Audi last week, we just anticipated that we're going to have a bit of a correction here and continuation to the upside. So I'm not going to go into the detail on this one. It has not really played out much. Nothing much has happened so far on Pound Audi. Just look at that. It is still just in the making. We're still having this pullback. We're still anticipating that we're going to push to the upside. You'll see when we do the analysis in a bit. Okay, so that is what we have there on Pound Audi. Let's have a look at the rest. Do we have any more? So that's what we have there. Let's get now into the analysis for this week. And as I said, I'm going to be referring to some of the charts that we have on our site. Let's start with the Euro, US dollar, and the DXY. Let's have a look here. Euro, US dollar. You've already seen what we're expecting on Euro, US dollar. We are anticipating that the move to the upside, the pullback in 3 waves has played out, and we'll be expecting this to make a continuation to the downside. So what you see here is our chart from London Open. So this would have been Friday morning before the move to the downside. This would have been New York the day before. And this is the chart here. So look at the 4-hour chart on our Euro US dollar. We were simply looking for this structure to be a corrective structure. We never thought that Euro was ready for a move to the upside. We have been bearish the Euro for the last couple of days. Now we're anticipating this. Now, if you look at our 4-hour, the focus was for this to push to the upside here and make a move to the upside, rather to the downside. So we already got that move. So let's just make this bigger so we can go into a bit more detail there. So that is the structure on the 4-hour. One move to the upside, running flat there. So that is our flat correction, as you can see there. The move to the upside, this was what was focused. We are now already doing this. So we want to see the Euro continue to the downside. So that is the focus for the coming week. If we just go back here to the 1-hour chart. So if you look at the 1-hour chart, we've already started the move to the downside. We're already here. We're already around here. So we anticipate that the Euro will do that. So if we've got that view on the Euro, that means we should just be looking for the inverse as far as the DXY is concerned. Let's have a look at the DXY. It will be the same exact chart, only the inverse. There we go. That is the DXY, the 4-hour, exactly the same as the Euro. As you can see, we're anticipating that the DXY will give us one more leg to the upside. Okay, so we've already got that on the 4-hour. Let's have a look at the 1-hour charts before. So this is what we have there. That's our 1-hour chart. So you can see it didn't matter whether this was falling like this. When we got to this move, to this area, we knew that this had to reverse because the Euro was showing us that exact same move, but in the inverse. So this was the London Open. So an hour before London Open, 1-hour chart here on the DXY, we're anticipating a move to the upside. How is the DXY playing out now? Let's have a look at the DXY chart. as you can see, as forecasted, we're anticipating that we're going to have this move to the upside here. Okay, so that is the DXYs. Our 4 hour was anticipating a reversal around this area. That does not change the structure at all. Just like the euro, you will see that we've got a move down here. We've got that structure there. We've got a 1, 2, and we're looking for this one to be a 3. We're looking for continuation to the upside. So let's see what happens in the next week. We'll be looking for the DXY to push up higher. Right, and then we've got pound US dollar. Right, pound US dollar. If you look at the bigger structure, let's look at that chart here on the side, just so you can see the daily chart and what it looks like on pound US dollar. So we can understand where all of that comes from. Let's have a look at the 4-hour chart. Now, pound US dollar, the 4-hour chart is showing us this structure. We've got a running flat here in the middle. Textbook running flat. We've got to move to the downside. So eventually what we have here is a clear ABC structure, not a WXY structure. It's an ABC structure here, ABC, and we're anticipating this to have been completed. So around this level, we should start seeing consolidation on pound US dollar for one more leg to the upside. Now, just to give a perspective of what we're anticipating there is that we are looking at this one to give us one more leg to the upside and then downside. So that's a possibility there on pound US dollar. Okay, so let's have a look at the rest. US dollar CAD, you've already seen this one on the recaps. Let's have a look at US dollar CAD as well and the US dollar PES. So we've got US dollar CAD focused on the 4-hour, as you've seen earlier on during the recap, was for this to come down into the blue box and make a continuation to the upside. The 1-hour chart was saying exactly the same thing. We were looking for this to get into the blue box. We're already in the blue box. Now, what we want to see in the next coming session is for US dollar CAD starting to make a move to the upside. So let's see how that plays out in the next coming sessions. US dollar CHF, you already saw this one during the recap as well. We have made a move to the downside. Let's see how this plays out and what we're anticipating here on the chart. Right, so that is a US dollar CHF. Let's have a look at that on the one. Let's have a look at the daily chart rather. Now, if you look at the daily chart, we are looking for US dollar CHF to give us a move like this and then push to the upside. So that's what we have. So that's why you see, even from last week, we've been anticipating that this will drop. And this is not a small move because it looks small because I'm on a daily chart. But if you look at the 1-hour chart, you'll see that that's quite a significant move. On the 4-hour, that is the move that you are seeing now clearly. Last week, we were here on US dollar CAD. We were looking, rather US dollar CHF, we were looking for this one to drop. No, I'm wrong. We were here last week. We were looking for this one to just give us a 3-wave move and then continue to the downside. And we already got that continuation to the downside. This is where we are now. We are currently down here. Okay, so let's have a look at that, the structure here on the live chart or the latest chart on US dollar CHF. So as you can see, we have already dropped from what we anticipated last week. But because there's some strength in the US dollar, we might just get this one to only come around this level before any reversal. But let's watch it. It could continue to the downside just simply because of the CHF in it. Right now here, this is Audi US dollar. There's not. I'm just gonna look at the current structure because this looks very clear. The Audi US dollar structure is a clear 3-wave structure that has a running flat here in the middle. So this looks like a nice trade setup for the next coming week. Look for this one to continue pushing lower like that. This is a simple WXY structure here. Okay, so but that we're not just looking at this being a 3-wave and we're looking to sell here. If you look at the bigger structure and where the analysis come from here, we are confident to sell that one to the downside because all our charts in our cycles are pointing downwards, not just because I'm looking at that 3 waves and I'm thinking a setup, because that could be very misleading. The whole move and the indicator should be supporting downside. So let's have a look here on the 4-hour chart on the euro, or rather on Audi US dollar. So this is showing us a move to the downside. You'll see that this chart was, after this was posted, this went and made a move like this, but that was simply building up these 3 waves like that, and now we're still looking for a move to the downside. Looking at the 1-hour charts, so with this, what we're anticipating, you want to see this one clearly, is that we are going to have one more leg to the upside that has similar 3 waves like this, similar 3 waves there, the same way we had the 3 waves here, there. So that was the anticipation on Audi US dollar. So now we've got this nice setup here with the 3 waves to the upside, with the textbook running flat. Now we're looking for these to make a move to the downside. Do not rush into this. This looks too obvious. What is likely to happen here is that you could find this one breaking lower here, coming back down here in 3 waves before it actually drops. So that's where we are with Audi. Did I show you the daily chart here? So that is the daily chart. The daily chart is still showing us that we are bearish overall. So that's why even when we're seeing that move to the upside in this correction, we know that our cycle is pointing downwards in the higher degree. Right, so that is Audi. Let's have a look now at the New Zealand. So the New Zealand will be similar in structure as the Audi, and you'll see that New Zealand has got the exact same structure with a complex B correction in the middle. We have 1, we have 2, we have 3. So the New Zealand is also done with its structure. Now we anticipate the New Zealand to give us any setups here on the 1 hour for a continuation to the downside. Like I said again, this looks a bit too obvious, so you may want to wait for a pullback before you get involved there. Let's go on to US dollar ZAR. Right, US dollar ZAR. Has US dollar ZAR made this as a 3-wave corrective structure? Now, are we ready for this one to make another leg to the upside? Looking at what US dollar CAD is doing and what we're anticipating of US dollar CAD, it makes sense that we can expect US dollar ZAR to push to the upside, except that the indicators are not supporting that. But with the US dollar ZAR, let's wait to get a little bit more data. Right now, Audi pound yen. Pound yen, what we want to look at here into this coming week, you want to look at this as a corrective structure, 1, 2, 3, and for this one to continue to push to the upside. That has always been our anticipation. If you look at our chart as well on pound yen, I'm not going to show all the structures on the website. I'm just going to show pound yen so you can see the perspective and why we are focusing upside on pound yen. Now with pound yen, look at the daily first. This is why. Okay, so this is why we're focused on one more leg to the upside so that we can complete this red A, B, C structure before continuation to the downside. Where are we now? Where we are now is here. We're anticipating that this will continue to push to the upside. So let's have a look at the chart here. Are we going to get that continuation? Yes, we are getting what looks like an expanding flat here, and we'll anticipate this one to continue pushing to the upside. US dollar yen. Now, the US dollar strength is resuming on US dollar yen, so anticipate that US dollar yen will continue to push to the upside into the next week. Even if it is just a pullback, that will be like this 1, 2, 3, and a push to around this level. That is US dollar yen, simply because of the US dollar strength that we are seeing. Euro yen, you've seen this one during trade recaps. It has now made a 3-wave move as well. Will this play out and we see another leg to the upside? That's what we want to see across all the yen pairs, exactly the same structure. Right, chief yen, also we want to see here, is it ready for a continuation to the upside, or will it give us a move back to around this level? If it takes the low here, that means chief yen is going to be bearish and we're still going to see a move to the downside like that. So that will be a 3-wave structure like this. That will be a WXY structure if we touch this level. So let's monitor this level here and see what chief has for us. All right, so that is a chief yen. Audi yen. You've already seen Audi yen during the trade recaps. Okay, so that's what we have on Audi yen. Similar to Audi US dollar, we're anticipating that we're going to have a move to the downside. So is this the start of that downside here as far as AUD is concerned? Look out for pullbacks here on the 4-hour for continuation move to the downside. Similarly, New Zealand has got the exact same structure. It has got a 1. This is a 3-wave structure here, a move up here in 3. Now, is New Zealand ready for a continuation move to the downside? Very likely, and that's what we're going to be anticipating, looking for trade setups in the next coming sessions. Similarly, CAD is showing us a bearish move here. We can still see CAD continuing one more down here. Either that or we get at least a 3-wave pullback before a continuation move to the downside on CAD yen. Let's have a look at gold. Now, gold, we have been anticipating this downside for some time now, and I think it is ready. Looking at the US dollar strength popping back up again. Gold has made what looks like a move to the upside, an expanding flat. Now that expanding flat is a 3-wave, so that is a move to the upside. We'll be looking for this one to push lower. It will not be surprising to see this one push a little bit higher before the drop, but let's watch how it goes. Whichever way it happens, whether it drops from here, we are still anticipating that gold will continue with the move to the downside. Now, we would not expect gold to push lower if silver is not pushing lower as well. So with silver, we've got that move. So if we're going to anticipate that move on gold, we're going to anticipate silver to also push slightly up higher and continue to the downside. Even if it does push to the downside from here, that will still be fine. Structurally, it will make sense. We will update the structure accordingly. Right now, we've got platinum. Platinum has also made a move here to the upside. So we want to see here, is this a continuation pattern for another leg up higher? Because platinum will make more sense if we continue pushing up from here. Then we'll have this similar structure to gold and silver on platinum before we continue with the move to the downside. Brent crude. Let's have a look at Brent crude on the daily. Now, Brent crude, we were anticipating that this could potentially just be a 3-wave structure like that, 1, 2, 3, continue to the downside and push to the upside. But it looks like this is all a correction. That's all the 3 waves we've got on Brent crude oil, and the move to the upside has already started. We are going to see Brent crude oil continue pushing to the upside. Excuse my mouse here, it's just a little bit screw. Now we're looking for this one to continue to the upside. Any pullback here on Brent crude oil, we'll be anticipating that this continues to push to the upside, at least in 5 waves. We could have an extended wave 5 and an extended wave 3 there. Let's see how that plays out. Let's have a look at the pound pairs. As I indicated, we're going to go into a bit more detail with the pound pairs. Here, let's have a look on the pound pairs. Let's start with pound. Okay, let's start with pound CAD. Now, pound CAD 4 hour. Pound CAD on the 4 hour, we're looking at this one to have been the corrective structure, and for this to start continue pushing lower. Now, with oil looking as strong as it is, it does make sense to see any pair that is paired again, any pair that has got the CAD as the quoted currency pushing lower. So this is the case here on pound CAD. So we'll be looking for that to push to the downside. You will see the 1 hour during New York was pointing downwards as well. So we're still anticipating that we're going to see a bit more downside on pound CAD. So that is pound CAD on the 4 hour. You'll see that it's giving us a setup for a continuation to the downside. Just be careful when if you're going to take this here, because this can still be a structure. But for now, this is showing us downside. Indicators showing us that we're going to have at least a leg to the downside on pound CAD. Right, pound AUD. Pound AUD, let's have a look at the structures here. I think you all remember what we focused last week on pound AUD, that we are still bullish pound AUD, we are still bullish pound New Zealand based on the structures. Let's have a look at those structures. So we were here last week. We were right here at the top. So we're anticipating that we're going to have a pullback here and a continuation to the upside. So what we are simply looking for is for this structure to complete. So we are now here. We want to see one more leg to the upside on pound AUD. So that's simply what we're looking at here. We have now made already that zigzag corrective structure here in 3. We've already made a move to the upside. So now we anticipate 1 hour corrections for a continuation to the upside. That is pound AUD. So we focused on pound AUD upside because we saw strength on pound New Zealand with this correction that is now played out. We've got an expanding flat there on pound New Zealand. We'll be looking for pound New Zealand to continue pushing to the upside because obviously AUD and New Zealand are correlated. So if you've got pound AUD and pound New Zealand, you basically have 2 correlated pairs. So anticipate more upside. Just on the daily, just so you can remember why we're anticipating more upside, is because we are looking at this bigger structure here on pound AUD. So this looks like an expanding flat. Now we're looking for this one to continue to push to the upside here and give us this leg here before we get downside. All right. So that is a very good looking structure on pound New Zealand. A bit of a push to the upside and then downside will give us a nice ABC corrective structure with a complex B in the middle there. So we're looking for C to complete there on pound New Zealand. Pound CAD we've gone through. Pound CHF, have we gone through pound CHF? So pound CHF, we've gone through this one during trade recaps. We are simply looking for this structure. We've got 3 waves down. We've got 3 waves up. We've got 3 waves down. We've got a move to the upside here. We'll be looking for this one to continue, to consolidate before continuing to the upside. Let's see how that goes. Simple structure really on pound CHF. Euro pound. So euro pound is still going to continue to the downside in the next coming session. So that means that this is a possible running flat here is still in the making. So we want to see this one come down here. Okay, so we are still going to see this one come to around this level. So will this be the structure that we're looking at? Not very clear at this stage on euro pound, so I'll stay away from it for now. Even if you can see it is bearish, it has already made such a significant move to the downside. All right, now pound AUD. Right, we cannot expect pound AUD to push to the upside and expect euro AUD to continue to push lower. The least we can have here on the daily is for this to push a little bit higher and then come down. Whether it's going to come down in 3 waves, that's a different story. So for now, anticipate that we are at least going to get back to around 1600 on euro AUD before a leg to the downside. Okay, euro New Zealand. Just pick one on a euro AUD again. So just pick one on the euro AUD. The structure here is 3 waves up, 3 waves down. So we'll be anticipating the same here. Another 3 waves to the upside here on euro AUD. As you can see here, we've got the 3 waves here in ABC. We've got the 3 waves there in ABC. We've got a 1, 2, 3 in WXY. So let's see how this one goes. Euro New Zealand. Euro New Zealand has always been showing us strength since the last week. So we'll be anticipating that we will see another leg to the upside there. Let's look at this on the 4-hour. On the 4-hour, you can see that Euro New Zealand has already made a flat correction there, and we'll be anticipating this to continue pushing to the upside. Those are the euros, EURCAD. EURCAD, you can see we've got a setup for a continuation to the downside. This is supporting what we are saying on pound CAD and the strength in oil. We should see EURCAD continue lower. EURCHF. Okay, EURCHF is making what looks like a 3-wave pullback before another leg to the upside. Are we going to get this leg to the upside on EURCHF? That's what we're going to be monitoring in the next coming session. Those are all the euro pairs. You've already seen AUD New Zealand during trade recaps. We are still anticipating that this is going to give us a corrective structure here, consolidation, and a move to the downside. We're going to see a move to the downside now. If we have to look at this one, this is possibly a 3 down, a 3 up, anticipated 3 down before it pushed to the upside. You've already seen the detail on this one during trade recaps. AUDCAD, you also saw how we forecasted this one as well. So we're still anticipating that this can still push up from there. Just watch the recap on AUDCAD. AUDCHF, interesting structure. You've got a move down here. You've got a structure here correctively. Now we're anticipating this to continue to around this level. If we're going to have this one complete, that means we've got that. We've got this yellow complete. Then we can have a move to the upside. So for now, we're not worried about the yellow. We just want to see this one come down to around this level. That is AUDCHF New Zealand CAD. New Zealand CAD, we are going to see what looks like a 3-wave pullback here, 1, 2, 3, and continuation to the downside. New Zealand CHF, similar structure to AUDCHF, still a bit messy, but what we want to see is for this to come down to at least this level. Will this now be a 1, 2, 3? Even so, that will not be complete because the move there started here. Okay, so that's what we have on New Zealand CHF. And lastly, CADJPY, that is on the Forex space. CADJPY, we should start seeing a move to the upside, looking at how oil is showing strength. We could see this one make a move to around this level. Let's see how that plays out. Then we can see the pullback. The indices, S&P 500, nothing has changed there. We're still anticipating that this is a running flat possibly, and we are going to see more upside. So that will be a running flat. We're going to see S&P 500 to continue to push to the upside. Right Dow, looks like a decent 3-wave pullback. We can get about this level before we continue to the upside. And then we've got the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ, are we done with these 3 waves? It looks very bearish though, but structurally the anticipation is this. So we're gonna wait for the indicator to tell us what the move should be. Structurally, we're anticipating upside here, but we just need to see that confirmation. That is the NASDAQ UK 100. UK 100 continues to push to the upside. Let's put this on the daily. Looks like it's making a 5-wave move. So we've got a move up here in 1, 2, 3, 4. We could get to around this level, around 8,000 on the UK 100. Simple 5 waves so far. The DAX, same corrective structure here. That's the move. We anticipate the DAX to consolidate at current levels and make a move to the upside after this running flat there. Anticipate consolidation and a continuation move to the upside. There could be a nice setup there on the DAX. Nikkei can still do this and still push to the upside. What that would have done is this. You've got this correction in the middle. You've got the 3 waves down, and then you're going to have these 3 waves to the downside. Then we're going to have a move to the upside. And lastly, Nifty. Nifty has finally made its 3 waves as we initially anticipated only the 3 waves and a continuation to the upside. But what we've got now here is a clear 3-wave structure and a move to the upside. 1, 2, 3. Now, if we break above this level, we are going to see much higher levels on the Nifty. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. If you like what we do, give us a thumbs up, drop us a comment, hit that bell notification button so you can get a notification the next time we upload a video. For those that are interested in the crypto video, you can check it out on our channel. Trade responsibly, guys. Cheers. Bye-bye.